with no more.
And like, yeah, all of a sudden Chewbacca comes out of nowhere and punches Darth Vader down the endless shaft.
And you know, maybe since we can't see the full scope of the series yet, we're putting too much of an emphasis on this because he's really the first Titan of the villains of the show to fall.
I'm honestly kind of scared about this next episode because I don't know what to expect.
Is that I would not be surprised if this is a tension building episode. So we see more of what's going on in King's Landing. We see more of what the pressure cooker situation is inside. I think you'll see more definitive lines drawn between those in Winterfell and those of Dany's movement. And maybe that's what we get. We get Dany and whoever's going with her departing to head south. And then I assume Sansa staying north and drawing kind of her lines where she's already kind of made it known to Dany already is that the north is for the Starks. I wonder if we get, because they keep doing all these little callbacks. I wonder if we get a moment where Jaime attempts to once yet again fulfill his role as the Kingslayer, or I guess this time the Queenslayer, where he goes after Cersei. Because that's what you've been kind of talking about the last few times we've talked about Game of Thrones. Is you think that Jaime might be the one that takes down Cersei. So I do think this episode is going to lack some action, but I think we're going to get pretty much that. We're going to get like a funeral moment in the beginning, sad music playing over footage of the piles of dead bodies that still remain.
They'll do a smoking pyre or whatever for Jorah.
Yeah, we'll probably get the most from the Jorah death, I feel like, right? No one really cares that Ed died too much. They'll probably mention it, but I don't.
May say something about the Mormont family or something. I don't know.
Because
the girl,
the whole thing died, I guess.
Yeah, their whole family's dead, that we know of anyway.
I'll be curious to see what Sam does this episode. I think he is the wild card out of the people that we for sure know are in Winterfell. Because Samwell Tarly could very much do or say something super emotional in the moment that I guess continues to further some kind of divide, because he has his own special relationship with Jorah, and now that Jorah's dead, I'm sure he's going to take it. He has not been taking things well so far, so I can't imagine he doesn't have something to say that is both beautiful and biting by the end of this episode.
I feel like things will get to a tension point, and maybe he'll be the voice of reason. Like out of everyone there who's losing their shit and like pissed off at each other, and like Sansa, like you were saying, Sansa is like, what happens to the North? I feel like he'd be the one who'd be like, hey, bring it together. Either him or Stone Cold Face Bran.
I don't know. If you watch Sam's expressions during the battle, he looks almost like he's going nuts. He's just losing it. So I wouldn't
especially that one scene where he's like sitting there stabbing people, and his look on his face like he's just insane.
And then there's one moment where he's like packed in with all the corpses, and he's just like white like a ghost, and his eyes are huge. I could see him going off half-cocked and doing something to betray Daenerys after, like the Jorah thing was the safety blanket for her with him, the cushion. And now that Jorah's gone, maybe Sam does something to betray her. Since, because they definitely put an emphasis on his reaction to his dad and his brother. And I was surprised.
Yeah. I feel like it becomes that. I feel like he joins in the line drawing that eventually this episode boils into, where Sansa makes her claim of, we're not leaving here to fight this war, we're staying north. And then I could see Sam being in support of that, whether it's saying something or just kind of solemnly joining in on that. But I think if he sticks with Dany's group whenever they make their move or whatever their next move is, he is definitely a wild card that potentially is going to do something that may not help those that he's with at this point in time. Do you think we'll get any further movement towards some kind of resolution to what's going on with Jon and Dany?
I hope
so. I definitely. I think. I feel like one of them's going to try to address it at some point, and the other one's going to be dismissive at the thought, like we got bigger things to worry about than love, kind of thing.
What's love got to do? Got to do with it? No. Okay.
We need to go sing karaoke again.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Right when we get to 6 viewers, Wilson dropping bars, and I appreciate it. To our 6 viewers, if you are here and you have anything nerdy on your heart, Game of Thrones or otherwise, please feel free to chat about it. And if we're not talking about it right now, we can quickly change the conversation to that. We are very much trying to keep a firm grasp on the pulse of all crap nerdy. Reno, did you have any like theories that were really sticking out to you? Me and Wilson kind of talked about ours. Was there anything?
Man, I'm kind of at the point to where I haven't really read much into any theory crafting this week. I really haven't, and I don't know if it's kind of like that episode of South Park where Cartman blows a funny fuse. I feel like I've blown a nerdy fuse over this past weekend with as much stuff that like went on. Like I've just like shut myself off because I wasn't really digging into theory crafting and some of the theories of what's going on after the episode like I normally do. So I mean I don't know that I necessarily agree that Sansa will say no and will stay in the north, because I feel like Danny will just simply say, look, I brought my entire army up here to fight the dead for you guys. I don't know. I don't.
There
I
must
don't
always be a Stark at Winterfell.
Touche. Leave Bran.
He's one that I'm interested. I'm legitimately interested to see what he does now moving forward, because I don't.
Yeah, like what's his purpose?
Yeah.
The Night King's dead, so what? So you have a guy who can work into crows and see the past. What does that do you for the future?
They'll hook his wheelchair up to a pony, and he'll have like dual wield axes going into King's Landing.
Like a chariot.
Yeah.
Just strap him onto the tail of a dragon. He could just be like the mace to it, and just sit there and just smash
Like a
brain into things.
stegosaurus.
And just smash brain into. I just don't know what his purpose is. It would have made more sense had he died last episode, and then Arya pops in and gets the kill. That I feel like that makes a lot of story sense, unless there's something more that Bran has to do, and if that's the case, it has to be something related to Night King, right? Because that's all. I'm curious to see what he actually does moving forward, because I don't think any of his stuff has ever been something where he talks about, unless now he moves towards the Three-Eyed Raven's all about what the next progression looks like with the Iron Throne or whatever. I don't know. I feel like this is so weird. Do you guys think we're getting to a point now where the TV show is getting harder to figure out like a natural plot progression because it no longer has the actual story, the books, to give it a reference point?
I tried never to use those as a reference point anyway, because I never read them.
Yeah.
So I tried my best not to look into any of that, so it would all be fresh when I saw it in the series, and I wouldn't compare them to the books, because a lot of the times the books are just unrealistic barometers that they'll never live up to. So I didn't want to be disappointed. So I don't know.
Because I mean, they've said in online sources that their ending is going to be very similar, and George R.R. Martin has said that it is going to be the
Real pirate.
I think he's trying to do Butters, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to do.
Oh.
What's the name of the kid that was with Butters?
I'm Scott Malkins. I have diabetes.
I'm Scott Malkins. I have diabetes. So I think so. Since they've said that the ending is going to be similar, they have that, and now it's just you have to fill in 5 to maybe 5.5 episodes to reach that point. So I am kind of curious to see if maybe they've hit a point where it's like, well, crap, what do we do here that we don't just like completely make stuff up to where it's a weird series ending, and then we know that a book's eventually going to come out about this material that may or may not be anywhere close to what we do? Or do you think they even care? Do you think they even care at this point?
I think they care to a certain point, but I also think that I think George R.R. Martin's been like involved in this, where they, he's kind of directed them on, kind of like how George Lucas did for the newest Star Wars.
I don't know. I feel like Game of Thrones is one of those properties that, I mean, when I go into like Books a Million, there's a whole Game of Thrones section right next to Harry Potter that's equally as big. I mean, you think about the merchandising and the money that they make off of just that alone for a series. I mean, it's more than most movie franchises. So I don't know that they. I mean, I think they care enough to, you know, keep milking the cow, so to speak.
I mean, what's wild about that is they have less books than Harry Potter, and they are a franchise that I would say easily rivals it.
Yeah, it's up there.
I mean, not theatrically. I think that's always the thing that Harry Potter's always going to have over a lot of these other books that become pretty popular. Is that not only do they have like a million books, but then they made a movie about each of them, and some of these series, some of these franchises, they get their books pushed into maybe one movie and or one television series, and that's the extent of the thematic reach. You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Harry.
It's the only real thing I remember from anything Harry Potter related. You're a wizard, Harry. Speaking of wizards and Harry, the maester that is the hand of Cersei. What's this sumbitch gonna do in the episode? Do we get some mad scientist plotting from him?
Yeah, they've been trending towards that for a while, I think.
I'm
like he's gonna have some kind of nasty trick up his sleeve at some point. It's gonna be like, oh, that's why he was kicked out of the Citadel.
Yeah. I mean, it should be very obvious why he was kicked out of the Citadel. They were all wearing white, and he chose to wear black. Clearly, he is evil.
Yeah, he's definitely the Metallica fan of the group.
he thematically set himself up to be in a trope that's going to be excommunicated for his evil ideas. But I am curious to see, do we get more, like, does he all of a sudden unleash that he's created a bunch of these? So how he made the mountain into basically Frankenstein. Does he have more of that? Is he the Day King? Did I just coin that? I'm coining that. Watch him be the Night King. I'm on board with everyone that shouldn't be the Night King being the Night King from this point on. I need it. I want it. I'm gonna keep, moaning and groaning about it till it doesn't happen, and I throw a fit.
I'm kind of worried at some point that the Faceless Men's going to make another appearance.
Well, so we had the Twitter, Game of Thrones Twitter, tweet out the. I'm not even going to pretend to say I could say that phrase.
Valar Morghulis or whatever.
Yeah. So you have the what is it? Death to all men, or all men must die. All men must die. And I feel like with this episode where you have 3 very strong women characters in the north, and then Cersei, who of course is a strong woman character down there, you have, I feel like, an episode where maybe we see a lot of plotting from the women in this, to where maybe the lines are just not naturally getting drawn to. Not only are people in the north concerned about swearing allegiance to Dany because of how Dany's come across with some of her actions, and that she's not from the north, but what if Arya starts to pick up traction now of she doesn't ask for it, but because of her role in killing the Night King, people now want to place her as someone of prominence and power. Yeah. And then of course there's still Sansa, who Lord knows what little finger teachings will rub off on her when she kinds to start to make some moves herself, if she makes moves.
So something that stuck out in the last episode that I'm curious to see, because there was the callback that the Red Woman made to Arya and all them. Well, she also made a call out to Varys that, like me, you and me will have to die in this strange land or something like that. So because they made it a point to say that, I wonder if he is going to die before this series is over.
I mean, not only that, but they made a point for her to say the words to him before the battle started, and him to respond with the "all men must serve." So I mean, that's the other side of the quote. Go ahead and say it again, Reno.
I'm not even gonna try it. Valar Morghulis.
There you go. Valar.
Do I get it?
Valor, Mr. Magoois. But it's the all men must die, and then the follow up from the Unsullied is all men must serve. So I'd be interested to see kind of why they made a point to highlight that. Was it just a callback that she had talked to Grey Worm before, and that this was her reminding him of what she said, and her death now is going to be that Kickstarter for him of, crap, she might be right, and I might be dying here too, in a land that he clearly doesn't feel super happy about being in, as him and Melisandre have already started.
Lysandra, yeah.
Have already started, talking about life after this war, and in getting out of Westeros, and I guess going back to Essos. But I think the quote is a good one because it can lead to a lot of different conversations. Is it about the faceless men? Is it about Arya, who said it before? Is it about the Unsullied or the people from Essos and the Free Cities? Is it about Cersei's? Is it about just the fact that maybe one of our main male characters is about to get gone before this episode's over? I don't know. I love that they give me stuff to read into too much. I also hate that they give me small things like that that may just be them
to overthink.
Yeah, that may just be them saying, okay, this was said in the last episode, and it also kind of ties in with Arya, so we're just putting it out there. It's no big deal. But then I'm immediately putting on like my Encyclopedia Brown hat to try to investigate this mystery.
Wilson, is your mic working?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I saw you talking earlier and nothing came through, so I was just checking.
No, I was just mouthing.
Oh. Fair enough.
Anyway, what do y'all think the chances are that Arya survives this series?
Honestly, I don't think it's very good. I think the God of Death's going to catch up to her.
Like, she's going to get ahead of herself after assassinating the Night King, and she's going to get caught sneaking up on Cersei at some point, and it's going to be the got her hand stuck in the cookie jar kind of thing. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could see that too. I could see I definitely, I think I felt stronger about her chances before she killed the Night King. Because now she's had a big, powerful moment, and usually that's when the show decides to kill someone off.
Death flag.
So don't you dare miss the next exciting episode. Next time on Dragon Ball Z.